The USA is famous for its hatred of anything even remotely socialist. Universal healthcare, that's communism. Democracies that resist American companies trying to own the country, communism. A neoliberal politician instead of a neoconservative or fascist.
Comrade Kamala Harris, she's a Marxist, communist, fascist, socialist.
Socialist and also a Nazi. Where does this hatred for anything even remotely socialist come from? Well, it is a complex and long history of successful propaganda to stop workers from developing class consciousness, an event that majorly contributed to the future Red Scare was the Haymarket Affair of 1886. The US in 1886. The 8-hour workday was not yet a reality, but the predecessor of the American Federation of Labor, known as the Federation of Organized Trades and Labor Unions, had demanded it for a while. Specifically, during the summer of 1884, it decided that it wanted to start a nationwide movement for the 8-hour workday, and achieving the 8-hour workday on May 1st, 1886, Labor Day. In Illinois, the 8-hour workday for workers and federal employees had already been the law since 1867, but it had not been enforced. Instead of 8 hours, the average worker in Chicago, Illinois' largest city and an important industrial center, had worked 60 hours over 6 days, so it's a 10-hour workday. That's almost as much time as your average Paradox player invests into Paradox games. Many of the workers in Chicago at the time had been German and Irish immigrants, but this was before the Gestapo, ICE, was founded, so despite the sizable anarchist movement in the city mostly being made up of Germans, they couldn't be wound up and sent to El Salvador without a trial. Luckily for the American bourgeoisie, they would soon get an excuse to unlawfully imprison 8 anarchists, 4 of which were executed and 1 of which committed suicide. Beginning on May 1st, thousands of workers went on strike, singing songs about the 8-hour workday with slogans such as 8 hours for work, 8 hours for rest, 8 hours for gooning. What we will. And shortening the hours increased the pay. All was going well and peacefully until on May 3rd, some workers confronted strikebreakers on the west side of Chicago. The police protected these strikebreakers by opening fire on the striking workers, killing one and injuring several others. Out of protest against police brutality, the anarchist labor leaders called for a mass meeting in Haymarket Square the next day, which even the mayor of Chicago, who attended as an observer, said was peaceful. However, after he and many of the protesters departed, 176 policemen arrived to attack the remaining 200 protesters. Then someone unknown threw a bomb at the police, to which the police responded with random gunfire. 4 to 8 protesters were killed by the police, while 30 to 40 were injured. As for the police, 7 died, 1 of which from the bomb, and 60 were wounded. Most of the police was injured and killed by gunfire, so friendly fire is a possibility, especially considering most if not all of the strikers were unarmed and it was quite dark around this time. Following this, in Chicago the police unlawfully raided many homes of labor leaders without any warrants. In the end, 8 anarchists who had nothing to do with the bomb were wrongfully convicted in a biased trial. Most of the so-called Chicago 8 weren't even present during the Haymarket Protest, let alone during the time of the bombing. 4 were executed, including the organizer of the protest in Chicago. 1 committed suicide, 3 languished in prison until being pardoned in June 1893 by Illinois Governor John Peter Altgeld, who condemned the justice system for allowing such injustice. This injustice led to a crackdown on unions in the US, with the largest union, the Knights of Labor, being disbanded. It also contributed to anti-union and anti-anarchist hysteria and laid the groundwork for the Red Scare, but also the US being a land of freedom for companies. So, what do we learn from Haymarket? Organize yourselves and remember that your class interests and that of the bourgeoisie are fundamentally opposed. You're only a tool of labor for the sake of filling their pockets for them. The state and system favors the upper classes, even if it sometimes sides with workers. Haymarket teaches us that. After all, the bomb in response to the police attacking was used to illegally purge Chicago's labor leaders and stir up anti-labor sentiments lasting until today. Anyway, check out my other videos if you want to.